Every day, millions of people promise themselves that their next cigarette will be their last. They genuinely mean it. Yet, a few hours later, they find themselves back outside, striking another match. Nicotine is often blamed as an insurmountable chemical force, but there may be a deeper mechanism at work, one that overrides even the strongest intentions. In many cases, the cigarette functions as a symptom, a physical response to a deeper, recurring need for emotional escape. Mapping the brain's internal logic during these moments provides a new perspective on why this cycle repeats. There is a common assumption that smokers light up because they enjoy the taste. However, if you look back at someone's very first cigarette, the physical reality was coughing, a burning throat, and intense dizziness. This creates a strange paradox. A person must consciously push through those initial waves of physical rejection until the habit eventually becomes a core part of their identity. This happens because the brain's primary operating system focuses on avoiding discomfort. Within this framework, addiction serves as an avoidance strategy rather than a pursuit of pleasure. Consider a day where the pressure builds from multiple directions: a conflict at work, financial anxiety, and friction at home. The mind becomes completely cluttered and overwhelmed. Stepping away to smoke changes the immediate environment. Breathing patterns deepen, the internal dialogue slows down, and for a few minutes, the noise of the day recedes. The brain logs this specific cause and effect relationship. It records that high stress was followed by a cigarette, which resulted in a feeling of relief. After enough repetitions, this sequence transforms into an automatic instruction. This is what psychologists call the habit loop, which consists of 3 distinct stages: a trigger, a routine, and a reward. Triggers quickly multiply. Beyond physical nicotine levels, the brain begins to associate the habit with boredom, loneliness, driving, or even just finishing a meal. Eventually, the environment itself becomes so entangled with the habit that the brain initiates a craving before the person is even consciously aware of it. The physical ritual, opening the pack, holding the cigarette, the familiar click of the lighter, serves as a constant anchor. These repetitive micro-actions become powerful symbols of comfort. A college student named David illustrates how this shifts. He began smoking socially, but as the years passed, his habit became his default response to any moment of emotional overwhelm. Years later in therapy, David realized the true utility of the habit. Smoking provided him with a timeout, an unquestioned reason to stop dealing with his life for 5 minutes. David's primary craving was for that pause. The tobacco was simply the vehicle that granted him a socially acceptable way to stop and disconnect from reality. Our brains prioritize efficiency. Any behavior that successfully reduces emotional discomfort is quickly automated to save the energy required for making a fresh decision. It's like walking through a forest. The first trip is a struggle through dense brush, but by the 100th time, you've carved out a clear, effortless path. This automation creates the persistent belief that smoking actively reduces real-world stress. This data suggests a different story. These graphs show that while nicotine relieves the physical tension of its own withdrawal, the actual external stressors, like deadlines and finances, remain entirely unchanged. Because those root problems are never addressed, the brain remains locked in a cycle of managing manufactured panic while the original stressors continue to mount. Quitting is difficult because it involves abandoning a primary coping strategy that has been relied upon for years. It's like being asked to give up your only umbrella in the middle of a storm. Even if that umbrella is torn and barely working, it feels safer than facing the rain unprotected. The brain resists this change because it has spent years classifying the habit as a tool for emotional survival. However, through neuroplasticity, the brain can build new pathways. It is capable of overriding these old survival instincts with more effective patterns. Recovery involves showing the brain, through repeated experience, that it can navigate emotional discomfort without relying on an external substance. By intentionally choosing a different response, like taking a walk or practicing a breathing exercise, the brain starts to starve the old neural pathway. Eventually, the craving subsides. This proves to the nervous system that the cigarette was not actually a requirement for survival. The focus then shifts from fighting the urge to interrogating it. This means stopping to identify the specific emotion, whether it's fear, boredom, or stress, that is actually triggering the impulse. The dependency breaks when the mind learns to process these internal feelings directly, rather than outsourcing that labor to a cigarette. Developing this awareness of your own mental patterns provides a direct route toward reclaiming control over your life. If you want to explore more about the science of self-improvement, subscribe to Brain Library. Your mind is your greatest asset. We'll see you in the next video.